Okay, so we're going to start with today, which is put first things first. Does anybody want to share anything about last week, if they made a mission statement? No? Okay. Well, maybe next time we can share them. So, habit 3 is put first things first. So when I think about that, I think about planning the important things that I want to get done first in my life. Even when I teach, like daily, me and the kids talk about what are our big rocks, what are our big focus on today, what do we need to get done. Like today, we needed to finish our personal narratives. So that was a big rock for us, and that's what we put first. So then we need to model that to our children and students, putting first things first. So during this presentation, we will look at big rocks and little rocks, and then how we can use those to put our family mission statement first. So turn to page 16 in your guidebook. And at the top, it talks about what does it mean to put first things first. So at your tables, you can just look at that and read those 4 bullets under big rocks and little rocks, and just think about how you use big rocks and little rocks in your life. So we'll just take a couple minutes to look over the top part. Her computer was being weird today. Okay, so the purpose with our big rocks and little rocks is that we're not torn between school, work, family, and other things that come up in our life. So we want to ask ourselves, what if I don't get this done? What will happen? What do I need to do first? What is the most important thing? So when you looked at that, like, was gaming or watching TV more important than eating with your family or doing something with your kids? So at school, we use our big rocks to plan each week. So that could be, like for teachers, our big rocks could be lesson planning, calling parents, writing notes to parents, talking with students, giving assessments, those type of things. And then at home, that might look a little different. So that could be, you might need to get your laundry done, pay your bills, have family time, whereas your little rocks would be watching TV, making a phone call, going on Facebook, that kind of thing. So for me, and I know Mrs. Palmer, we make lists. So like in my classroom, I have a list of everything I need to get done daily, and then what I need to get done throughout the week. And same way with your house. So like usually the top part of my list is my big rocks, and the bottom part are my little rocks of things that if they don't really get done, it's going to be okay. Because the big ones.
Do you put TV on your list?
No.
I'm just curious because I'm like, that never makes it on my list.
But
Definitely I want to do it, but
sometimes you need to sharpen the saw, so you might need to watch TV to give yourself a little break. So our big rocks could change day to day. Maybe something pops up in your life and you need to change that and alter your list. So I want you to think, what could your big rocks be for this week? Maybe your big rock was paying your electric bill, or maybe it's going to church on Sunday, going to work, working out, meal planning. Those are more important than our little rocks, which think of like little pea gravel. Those are things that come into play after we get the main things out of the way, and we take that weight off of our shoulders for our big rocks. So if we're not careful, those little rocks like television, scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, or playing PlayStation or gossiping with people after work, then that sometimes overrides the main things that we need to get done. So think, what would happen if you didn't get on your phone and scroll through social media? Nothing. Like, your life will go on. So you can put that aside and do the more important things that are with your family. Cheryl, can you switch the slide? Sorry. And then that kind of went over watching TV, gaming for our little rocks. Do it again. We're going to watch this video by Stephen Covey. I think you have to do it one more time, where he talks about big rocks.
Family life as well? Children?
Not yet.
Not yet. What's the nature of your work assignment?
I direct an international firm.
An international firm? So you really are interfacing with all kinds of people in the firm and outside the firm. You want a rich personal life and a rich family life. You ever feel like you get bogged down in the thick of thin things?
Yeah.
Well, that might be analogous to all these little, small things that tend to fill our life. And they're just little by little, they just accumulate. Now, your job, you can't go above this, is to get all those large rocks in the jar. Good luck. What's that one called?
Q2. Planning, preparation.
Right. Planning, preparation, prevention, and empowerment. Okay, the next rock she put in there is called relationships and family. You didn't look at that third rock you put in there. That's employment, some key employment issue, and then you put major projects here. I can't get it above there.
I don't work at that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's fair. That's called service community church. Do you ever feel like this?
Yes.
How many feel like this? By moving the little things around, you might squeeze in one more of those big major things. It's almost, wow. You know, if it doesn't fit, force it. Here's something that's called urgent and important. It's quadrant one thing that is blindsiding you, that if your biggest client, that if you don't get back to that client now, you've given up your vacation. And you have no special block of time just for yourself. I'll tell you what you can do if you want to. You can take a whole different approach. You have a totally fresh goal. You can work out of a different paradigm altogether.
Well, then I'd rather put these in the bottom. And then put a little pebble on top.
Employment,
Big opportunity.
big opportunity.
Important and urgent. Block of time. Those young children keep looking at me. My husband's not here. No, I don't leave them there.
Okay?
So as you could see, when she put all of her little rocks first, did she have time to do the most important things? No. So the point is, when we put the most important things first and get those accomplished, then we make room for our little rocks, the things that don't always have to come right away. So I would like for you to grab a Post-it note on your table. And I want you to think about how much time you spent as a family this week or last week doing family activities. Maybe you ate dinner together, maybe you played games, maybe you went somewhere, or maybe you reflect on that and think, what could you have done with your family instead of maybe if you were watching TV or doing things that weren't as important that you put first. Maybe ask yourself, how would more family time be purposeful? How could it help you? And do you think it's possible to put your family first on your schedule? Maybe talk about that.
I think the biggest problem most people have is social media and watching television or shows.
Yes, we have to try to get those to be our little rocks and kind of put them to the side.
Right, those are all built to take us away from reality. It's all they are.
Right.
It's I mean, it's literally a fantasy world people are in.
If you turn to page 17.
I have a question on that.
Yeah.
Do you guys set your kids for a certain amount of time, or do you like police screen time? Like, we're on a family share, like I can see how much time I've spent all week on my phone, and how much time my kids have spent on their iPad. Or do you try to police them?
We are extremely good about policing Carter on his time, but we're not so good about policing ourselves on our time, which, you know, while our latency because we're doing stuff for them, but then it's like getting to bed and all we want to do is kind of either go to sleep or
Yeah.
have some downtime, so.
Or lay down?
So we went from unlimited internet to 100 gigabytes a month when we moved. Because where we moved, because where we lived, we had Spectrum, so we had unlimited internet. And where we live now, we don't get that. So we had to get a hotspot, so we have 100 gigabytes of data. So they each have, oh yeah. Actually, so it's weird, it's not 1 to 30 because of the way our phone plan is, it's 11 to 10. So it actually just rolled over. This was the first time that we've had any significant amount left over. Because it's nicer and, you know, like we're doing more things outside or whatever, that kind of stuff or whatever. So like when we first moved in, we actually didn't get it until, we moved in at the end of August. We probably didn't have it at all for September. We might have gotten it in the middle of September, but I don't remember. But then October, November, and December, and January, we ran out. In January, we ran out with 12 days of the month left. But it's nice for two reasons. We have to think about it because we don't leave it on. So we have to think about, I'm gonna go turn on the internet, and then I have to remember to turn it off, and when it's gone, it's gone. Now we have phones, so I can pay my bills, and like we can do like that kind of stuff, and if Isaiah had a project, we would be fine. But like, there's this limited amount.
Did you notice any difference in those 12 days? You did.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. What's going on? How come, can I watch TV? And I'm like, no, you can't watch TV, I don't know what to tell you. So, yeah. So, yeah, I know. See, and that's the problem, like,
That's
that's the
hard.
problem, like, I think I think it's hard because we all do so much work on our device. I have an iPad, I have a laptop, and I have a phone. Good grief, really? You know what I'm saying? And so what I try to do is I've tried to get my work on all but one of them. So like when I'm on my phone, it's fun. I don't pay my bills on my phone. I don't watch Netflix on my phone. If I'm on my phone, I'm like on Facebook or I'm playing a game like that. But if I'm on my iPad or my computer, I could be working. I could be doing something for school. I could be paying bills. I could be working.
I try not to be on my phone in front of my kids at home, but then I notice I'm shut up in my bedroom a lot because I'm doing things on my phone. So I need to be better at that.
Yeah. So I think it's just it's a hard balance, but it changes. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's totally different from when we had our big three because they didn't have phones. You know what I'm saying? But even Isaiah and Veronica, they're totally different ages, so the requirements and the limits and all of these things are totally different. So it's totally different.
And in our training, they talk about that before it's a waste of time, like your emails and things. Like you should block out a half an hour. If you want to check your email and then not check it.
Some
every
people's
minute of
jobs
the
don't.
day.
Some people's jobs don't warrant that. I mean, if you checked your email from 8:30 to 9 and you didn't check your email again until 8:30 tomorrow morning, how many phone calls would you get? I mean, it's just, what are you gonna say?
We have a 13-year-old and she has a phone, but we have an app that shuts it down after an hour and a half, and boy, does she get pissy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, and she, she thinks it's because we don't trust her, and it's just, she's so bullhead, like,
Yeah.
no, it is for the health,
Right.
your emotional health, so.
We do it by grades. You're only allowed one C. If you have more than one C, you don't get TV. And we don't do like games or internet or anything unless you have to do like schoolwork or research for a school project. We don't let them do internet. The only time they do internet is at school.
The only game they have is a PS2.
Oh,
Right.
no.
No, a regular.
They had a PS2. It doesn't work anymore. They have a Nintendo.
Awesome.
Like old.
And the only way you're gonna get that is
And I'm
if
good
you
at
have
it.
friends over,
Sure, I'll play.
or if you were like extremely good, you came home, you did your stuff, can I go play the game? Go ahead, you got 30 minutes?
Mom,
Have
will you
it.
help me with this level? Sure will.
A
Other
Nintendo
than
or a
that-
Super Nintendo?
Super.
Yeah.
Other than that,
In the
no.
week, your time is so short at home anyway.
Right.
Right.
By the time you get home, get supper ready, get homework done.
Yeah.
I'm sure
It's,
they-
Veronica made the comment, I said something about, well, you might put a few minutes on your phone or whatever when we get home. She goes, well, I don't go on my phone all day. I said, yeah, so that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
I said, that's good, that's fine, because on the days when we're super busy, there isn't time for that. And that's what I wanna teach them, that's the whole
Yes.
purpose of teaching them that sometimes,
It should be a little rock.
yeah,
Yeah.
it should be,
Not-
yeah.
Should be a little rough.
Exactly.
If you could turn to page 17 now. Beginning on 17, we're going to start thinking about ways that we can put our family first and make those big rocks. So the first one was creating a mission, a family mission statement. So if you haven't done that yet, let's make that a big rock, and maybe we can share them out next week. Because that's a really big rock for families, and we went into more detail about what goes into that, and you can refer back to the past habits. But then the second way would be to schedule one-on-one family time with maybe your daughter or son. So right now, just think about a time that you spent one-on-one with somebody, or what memory comes to mind and how that made you feel, because that's how your kids will feel. And then at the bottom of page 17, there's a chart where you could brainstorm what you could do with your daughter. Maybe one day a month, you have like a mom and me day or a dad and son day. And you could even talk with her or him what they would like to do. And you could even kind of brainstorm that together. So I'm not going to make you do that right now, but that could be something you talk about when you make your family mission statement at home as well.
So did you say they were gonna feel good when they spent one-on-one time with us?
Hopefully.
It's different for the 13 and the 14-year-old, that doesn't work.
No, the 11-year-old.
Yeah, if they're over the age of like.
Maybe you could find a common, like talk about a common interest.
Yeah, no, I mean, they will enjoy them, they just won't like it
At the
first.
time.
Yeah, at the
Or
time.
They won't admit
Would
it.
you like to spend time with Dustin?
You have to make them, but
Yeah.
then when you're in it.
Yeah. Or like later, they'll be like, hey, you remember when we did that? And that's probably more likely than anything, but.
Well, we got those bowling signs that you can use.
Oh yeah, you could go bowling
Oh, yeah.
or go to the water park or somewhere this summer.
They like that, yeah,
I'll let you have Dustin, you need some one-on-one time with him.
So that's something I want you to talk about when you make your mission statement with your children and see what's something maybe you guys could brainstorm together to do together and maybe do it once a month or every other month or whenever you have time for that big rock. So then the third thing is having regular family meal time together. So when I think back to when I was little and we had family dinner, we always sat together and it was always on a daily basis. But then the more I think about it, like, could we have changed something about that? And there probably was room for improvement. Like, we were all there together, but I'm sure, like, the TV was on and maybe not everybody was really into the conversation, or we were just sitting there because that's what we always did. So think at your table, what is necessary to make family mealtime successful when everybody's together? How can you make that successful with your family?
Well, we already do that, we don't have the TV on, but they play around with it.
The two little ones anyway.
I was gonna say, I've started involving them in the cooking process,
Well, that's
so they really like that. He loves to cook, she's okay with it, but, so that's one of the things we do.
One of the leadership things you could do is ask them what's their day.
Veronica brought home this cup from school, from like maybe kindergarten or first grade, I don't even remember. And they were like pushing, that's the wrong word, but they were like really encouraging family dinner, mealtime or whatever in conversation. And so it has questions in it that you pull a question. Now her idea of this is do the whole bucket every night at dinner. Like it's supposed to be one question, but I can't convince her of that. So like we'll do as many as she lets us do. But they have questions like, name one thing that you saw today that you haven't seen in a while. You know, so just like really random kind of weird things or whatever, and so she loves that.
And I was going to say, talk about things that happened during your day and what you could improve on tomorrow, or what went really well that you hope happens again. And then there was a quote from Oprah Winfrey that said, if you don't have the time for one night or at least 1 hour together as a family, then the family is not a priority. So we need to make sure that we're making that a big rock. And I'm glad that you all are already having family dinner time together. But maybe look back, and on page 18 there is a little spot at the top where you can write down a few things that you want to improve at meal times. And then going off of that, not just meal times, but then having regular family time. Maybe you go to the library together, or you go on a walk, or you go to the park, you go play a game, go to the movies, etc. And maybe that's once a month. It doesn't have to be like something really big. It could be something small that everybody enjoys doing. And now that the weather is getting nice, like there's like state parks you could go to, or even just playing outside together as a family.
Our new thing has been riding the four-wheelers. We could do that on a four-wheeler anywhere. So we can ride the four-wheelers together. Not together, but.
Does anyone have any ideas they want to share that their family does, or that you're thinking of that maybe another family in here would want to do together with theirs?
We go to the community center a lot, park out there. Well, I have Sandra and Elena, so it's closed. I'm just like, go, run, free. So.
Or
Yeah,
when?
we go to the pool, cause they love that, so they love being able to swim when it's cold. I mean, that's the best thing for them, so.
And then it talked about like even when you sit down at dinner with your family, you could talk about like a monthly outing or work together to brainstorm so everybody has their say and their voice. If you want to jot anything down on page 18, Cheryl, you can skip. You can go to the next one. Oh, maybe it's not in there. Well, I'm going to go to traditions is the 5th one. Family traditions. And I'm sure every family has a tradition. Like my family always packages, I can't think, the shoe box over Christmas, and we all get together and we make those care packages, and that's just something our family has done since I was probably a baby. But it just brings like a sense of belonging to your family, and I feel like family traditions are pretty self-explanatory. But on page 19, it says 3 family traditions of my childhood family were. And maybe you could think of at least one that you could jot down that your family did when you were a child. Or maybe they still do it and now your kids do it too with them.
All our family traditions when I was little involved everybody drinking.
Did that one?
We didn't have that.
To your grandma. On
Yeah.
Sunday, your Sunday you went to.
We
Okay, all right, I would.
drank wine,
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Oh, I missed that. Big Sunday.
Sunday, yeah, Sunday
Yeah.
dinners at grandma's.
We still do them. We live on his hill with all his family, and we all meet at the shop every Sunday. And cousins run. It's awesome.
Yeah.
We're starting Friday dinners like the Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, my parents are there, will be like the Gilmore Girls.
Well, that's a good tradition. And then under it, it says one tradition that I will start with my family. You could put that one down, that you're starting
There
it.
you go.
Can you think of something new that you want to start with your family? That could be something you ask them too when you sit down and work on your mission. You could ask them, is there any tradition that you wish that we did? Like give them an example of one that you had. Those kids are smart. Like even my kindergartners are writing about what they do at Christmas every year and how they do it every single year, and then we talk about how that's a tradition. And then maybe why, get their reasoning why they would want to do that as a tradition with your family. And then that will help the bond in everyone's relationship. The next page, 20, that page is mainly as a resource that you can use as you plan your mission statement or your family dinners or your family outings. And you could refer back to that on page 20. That might be a good page to like tab down so that you remember. And then Cheryl, oh, it's already up there. Derek, can you read that quote for us?
If you do these things, I can guarantee that the quality of your life will improve dramatically.
And most people say that the 7 habits are just common sense, so what's the big deal of doing them? And for the majority of people, it's not really a common practice, and they don't take the time to plan with their family and have those family meals and have one-on-one time and outings and traditions with each other. So by doing this big rock in our life, it will make a big difference. So my goal is that you pick at least 2 of the 5 to try to do next week, and maybe we could talk about them when you come back. Hopefully the mission statement is your big rock out of all 5. And then if you turn to the very back, is that where the flight page is? Yeah. Your family flight plan, and go to habit 3, put first things first. And maybe if you want to list one of those 5, like family mission, one-on-one time, family meals, family traditions, or family time together, something that will help you remember, put first things first. Or maybe that video of like the gravel and the big rocks, maybe that will help you remember to put first things first. Whatever really stuck out to you that you want to jot down to help you remember. And then that will complete habit 3, put first things first. Who thinks that their family will be more successful if you try to implement these big rocks? Perfect.
I think it's nice to, your big rocks change each week.
Oh.
Talk about your big rocks.
And you could even at your family dinner, like, make a plus delta and just, like, say, what did we accomplish, but what didn't we get done that we could work on next week? And if anybody wants to get food or a drink while Cheryl gets ready.
What is it?
Custodio?
Is it put on spouses as well?
Sure. Yeah.
Is it for the
I
whole
think-
phone itself? Or
It's
is
for
it
up to
just-
5 devices, like it's
No,
an
no, no,
account.
but like, does it shut the phone down?
Yes.
Or does it shut just the data down?
Still call.
She can call and text.
She can
That's it.
call and text, so she, okay, so it shuts the
Data.
the data down, okay. That, yeah, so, yeah, I wouldn't want to shut the whole phone down.
Right.
Q Studio.
Yeah, yeah, QUO.
What side are you
STODIO.
Okay.
And I don't have the premium version yet. I figured, because she's 13, I still have, I still know where she's at all times. Yeah, that's it. So I could see buying the upgrade.
That goes to that. That just gets you.
The premium version, is it just the GPS?
It does, yes, there will be like,
Cause we have that already on our phones, cause we have on my phone and I can,
Yes.
and cause my kids are on my plan, like I can find their phone anytime, so I don't, so yeah.
yeah, but there, yeah, that would be one of the benefits, and then it'll monitor like YouTube and, like different hot words that they're looking up and stuff, so.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which could be beneficial.
Fart.
I hope that's not a hot word.
So you have a 7th grader, 8th grader?
8th grader.
Oh, yeah.
Well, at home, we have 2 at home, he's 14 and she's 10, well, she will be 10 or 12. So he's in 8th grade, she's in 4th grade.
Yeah. So a 32-year-old and
Keeps you busy.
And 2 grandkids.
Are they all around here?
Yeah, yeah, our oldest son lives in Perryville, and then our daughter lives in Herky, and our other daughter lives in South County. And our daughter with grandkids is the one that lives in Herky.
Really close.
Yep. And we're always together. Like, when she said that like, this isn't commonplace for people, that was exactly what I was thinking. Are there really people who don't do this? Because like, I can't think of like, a time when like I wasn't with my family or thinking about my family, so like, it's just weird for me to comprehend that thought
Well,
process.
yeah,
That's
what's hard is like, those families aren't, we
Oh,
see it
I know.
every day,
Yeah.
so.
What you were dealing
But
with.
it's also about being intentional.
Yeah, that's true.
Even we know it.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean,
Well,
I'm
intentional.
intentional.
I kind of followed along with that too. But it's about being intentional.
Well, yeah, like, yeah, I mean, like, she asked us what we did this week as a family. We actually technically didn't do anything this week as a family because he was traveling. But we did stuff together, and he's always with us, and our, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
And
Sunday's the first day of the week,
so,
went hit golf balls and get back.
yeah, so he took them to hit golf balls, and then me and the kids did stuff the rest of the week. So when he's traveling, we don't do stuff as a family, but we still are doing stuff together, and we're intentional about spending that time together when we have it, so.
Well, you guys have 4 pretty little ones. I mean, like, the oldest one's teenager. Did you
3 to
guys ever
13.
Yeah.
try to get alone or probably can't.
Not
That's
really.
awesome, I'm gonna set this up.
Yeah, I love
Because
it.
if the 3-year-old ain't
She
getting into
doesn't- she
something, the
doesn't love it,
6-year-old
but-
is, and the 6-year-old
We
ain't, the
disagree
13-year-old
on
is.
like, cause I got off social media a long time when I
Yeah.
quit watching TV a
I
long
was sitting
time
there
ago.
Yeah.
So I don't have those distractions, but
5% of just this past week.
they
Broke
just
in the
create,
2 days.
They do, they
Friction.
create,
And Ryan
yeah,
home back and forth, we just ran
and the
so
kiddos,
they
they think
we
model
didn't
for
intentionally do
behavior.
that. Just take
So
one.
that's what they're thinking, they wanna be on their phone, so wanna be on my phone, wanna be on my phone.
yeah.
Well, me and Elena, we go to like the grocery store together a lot, and she loves shopping.
Already?
Yeah.
Good job, Mom.
She doesn't like grocery shopping, but if I buy her something,
Then
she
she's always-
loves it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so I'm going to Walmart. Can I get something? No, I'm going to the
Not
hardware
this
store.
time, but I
Go to the
tried.
hardware store. Can I go to Walmart and get something? No, I don't wanna go there.
Yeah, she likes shopping. Okay, can I get
Sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so I'm Cheryl Burfigler. I'm the special education teacher here. I teach K-3. So if you don't know who I am, that's who I am. I'm going to talk about habit 4, think win-win. In relationships, people often have the mentality of someone wins, the other person has to lose. We define this mentality as being competitive. Why do we have that mindset that I need to be better than someone else? Why do you think we have that mindset?
That's how life works. It's the reality of life.
Right.
That's just human nature.
Well, and, I mean, and sports, I mean, if you watch sports in your sports family, somebody wins and somebody loses. That's,
But it's not just sports. It is the reality of how the universe works.
Okay. And do you feel that competition takes away from relationships, especially in our families?
it can, but it really
We might have one child that's better at something than something else, so that might make that other child feel like jealousy or...
Yeah, but it really is a one-on-one game between a 14-year-old and a dad.
That might be okay.
That can improve the relationship, so. It's good when it, in its place.
So there are 4 different ways of thinking. Slide 78. Would someone like to read this slide? Okay.
So lose-win, you get the remote and I get nothing. If you win, I'm a loser. Lose-lose, we argue and I throw the remote against the wall. If I'm going down, you're going down with me. Win-lose, I get the remote and you get nothing. We don't have enough for both of us. You and I decide, win-win. You and I decide together to turn off the TV and play cards. It's not about you or me, it's about the both of us.
So when a person thinks win-lose, he or she is in a competitive mode. When someone's thinking lose-win, that person allows himself or herself to be a doormat. Nobody wins when someone thinks lose-lose. Win-win thinking shows an attitude of cooperation and collaboration. Which one of these is the most effective way of thinking? Win-win. Think win-win is the key to working with others. To have a successful family, everyone needs to think win-win. It is the most effective way of thinking, especially in your family. Something to keep in mind as we move forward is how often do you operate from a win-lose way of thinking? Is your partner with your partner or child in a relationship?
Often. Every morning, it's a battle with chance. Every morning. Like this morning, he wanted to go upstairs, and if he goes upstairs, he usually packs his pockets with stuff that he doesn't need to take to school, so I went and got him a hoodie. And he was like, well, I didn't want that one. I said, well, it's this hoodie or you wear your coat. He's like, well, that's not what I wanted. I was like, these are your choices. Pick one. He's like, and it went on for a while, the battle. And he was like, fine, you win. It's like, these are your choices.
Sometimes as a parent, it has to be win-lose. If my 14-year-old says, hey, I'm going to go drive the car, no, sorry, you lose, I win. I mean, that's just the way it is. But if I try to explain to him there's a reason behind the process, then he's not losing. He just can't have his way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so win-win. I mean, I definitely think when we're talking about like little stuff like the remote or who picks the show or what game we play, you can definitely make that about the group decision.
Right.
You know, but no, he's not driving the car.
Right. And that's
Alone.
kind of, to me, a little bit of a different aspect because that's not the law, you know.
Exactly,
but
right.
when we're just thinking about those little things at home.
Right, definitely relationship-wise, I can
Yes.
definitely see the benefit.
Yes. So a frame of mind. Think win-win as a frame of mind and heart that seeks mutual benefit and mutual respect. It's not thinking selfishly, win-lose, or like a victim, lose-win. It's thinking in the terms of we, not me. And that was by Dr. Stephen Covey. Okay, what is the benefit of having a win-win spirit and attitude in your family? How does it make people feel?
Included?
And it also teaches, like if it's between the two kids, it teaches them to learn how to compromise.
Right.
Which is something they don't learn if they're watching television and politics. They don't see that it's always a battle.
Right.
Even with like Veronica and Isaiah, there's an age difference, and she'll get upset. He gets to stay up till 9, and I have to go to bed at 8:30. You know, and there's times when you have to when you can make a compromise and explain to them, you know, the one's because of age. Your kids will work together, or parents will work together. It teaches, it models behavior.
Right. And then everyone, when they understand, it's a win-win.
Right.
So when people have that free win spirit, they feel valued, they're happy, and everyone seems to get along. Think about one other family member. What would be a win in his or her life? And if you want to turn to page 27, you can jot that down in your book. Would anyone like to share what they wrote?
Morning's running smooth without arguments. It's chaos in the mornings for me. And I try to be so, like today, I'm pretty proud of myself. I was so calm.
Doesn't normally go that calm.
No, because one likes to just keep pushing that button, so I will explode, so he does get that reaction. And there's the little one that he likes to just flutter around and do his own thing. I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't have anybody like that.
I know. So, I had that one under control. You'll go to bed early if you do keep doing that, and he got himself under control, but the other one, he just kept pushing.
Do you have a lot of prep stuff that you do at night to get ready for the morning?
I have them get their clothes out for the next day, and then really it's just
It's a matter of brushing your teeth, eating your breakfast, putting your shoes on and your coat on.
a routine.
It's like a daily routine.
Normal
Never.
stuff that he's just gotta take a 14-inch crescent wrench and just throw it in the middle of the same stuff we've been doing for 6 years. Well, I don't wanna do it this way. I'm gonna do it completely different. I'm gonna go upstairs and put my shoes on. But they're
My
right there
pockets.
by the door. No, you're gonna go put Hot Wheels in your pockets is what you're gonna do. No, put them on.
Yeah,
It's an everyday battle.
every day.
With Veronica, I had to start waking her up early because, like, earlier than earlier than I think she needs. Get up, get dressed, walk out the door. Isaiah gets up, he walks, get dressed, walk out the door. Most of my kids have. And oh no, it takes her 25 minutes to get out of bed.
That's
Ours,
desperate.
Like
ours
from
are
the
an hour.
Like from the time the alarm goes off, like it's constantly like, I have to remind her that she's supposed to be moving but she needs that, but she functions better if I give it to her. So like, her bus comes at 7, where he would get up at 6:40, I wake her up at 6:15. And so, you know what I'm saying? So that was just one of those things that I found that worked for us early on. Because
Right.
like, we were missing the bus, kindergarten, we were missing the bus every other day. Just because she could not get motivated and going, so,
I get that. I like to get up and have my time.
yeah,
If I want to look on my phone for 30 minutes,
right.
then I
Yeah,
have that
and
time that I
right.
get up and do that before I come to school. That's like my time.
Yeah, and I wanna sleep till the absolute last second. Absolute last second. Do I really need a shower this morning?
That's my husband when he gets up and he's like, "Why are you getting up?" Because I want my time. You
Yeah,
know,
Yeah.
What
that's
happens when he does take off from school?
Do what?
What happens when he does take off from school?
I take it away.
Does he get in trouble with it at school?
Yeah,
Or is it something?
they'll take it away. He's taken his brother's toys to school.
You got them taken away.
They've gotten taken away and we're like,
Flashlights off the school buses.
it just,
would
middle
take.
school, so he shouldn't be taking those things to school.
Right.
Yeah, does he need like something to fiddle with?
We've tried that.
If you had choices of 3 or 4 fidget things you could take today, and you talk about tonight, what are you gonna take tomorrow? Or I don't know.
He's
But
too
he
busy
plays with
rushing
that
through
all
his
the time.
work to play video games on his Chromebook. That's our problem right now.
We had fidget things for him to do, but instead of doing schoolwork, it was, oh, I have to sit here and play with it. It was an excuse not to do what he needed to do, and it's like, no, schoolwork comes first. Do this multitask. There's no multitasking.
I can't
It's
think
a-
of one.
No,
I was trying to think, well, if you have some choices, you can take.
No.
it's a lose-lose no matter how we go about this.
What I always thought was cool is the desks with the kick plates. Have you seen those? They make the desks, they make these desks that have almost like a swing for your foot. And so like it would be at school, so he would be working, it's not something he can focus on, but it's something that the kids can just do while they're sitting there, standing there working. I saw him in a magazine or something one time and I thought, that's what the teachers need, half of those. Half the regular desk, because there's kids like me who have to sit there and be quiet and write their, you know what I'm saying, and then there's kids that need that energy
Movement.
release, that
And we
something to
use
go
those
over.
here. We have kids
They
that,
get-
that like a rubber band thing we put around their
I was
chair.
gonna say, yeah, I've seen the desks that have like the like the
Yeah.
bungee cords that they can kick or
Yeah.
push or whatever, so yeah, these are just the ones that are built into the desk,
Yeah.
the ones I saw, but
We have the workout balls, we have the wiggle seats, we have the little,
yeah.
and some kids you just have to take away from.
Right,
them
right,
because
exactly, I understand it doesn't work for everybody,
They're
but
falling all over the floor all day long, or
we went to like.
Taking
pretty-
advantage of it.
Yeah.
You try to get them those things.
Mhm.
Okay, well, this is just a little scenario about Rick and Angie, and it demonstrates how two people who know about habit 4 think win-win mindset can work out their differences by sincerely asking each other these questions. What would be a win for you, Angie, and what would be a win for you, Rick? Rick is a physical therapist just starting his private practice. It's a stressful time of long hours and heavy debt. Angie's Rick's wife teaches school. As most teachers do, Angie also puts in long hours at school in her preparation time. Her teacher's salary is not enough to pay all of their expenses and bills. Rick is by nature easygoing. Angie's more tense, especially about finances and the family debt. When Rick comes home from work, they quarrel. Angie feels that she is overwhelmed with all of her responsibility, the kids, homework, budgeting, and teaching. She nags at him. You never help, Rick. I'm doing it all. They fight and go to bed angry. In the morning, in calm voices, they ask each other, what would be a win for you? Angie agrees to stop nagging and be more positive. Rick agrees to fix broken things around the house and work together on the budgeting and to partner up with doing the homework. They both averted a possible ongoing conflict because they asked and found out what was important to the other person. And I feel like this, in my life, this is something that I need to do better at, because I feel like I'm always doing this. My husband works shift work, so I always feel like I'm always doing this, and I don't have children at home, but I can definitely see just two adults having this problem without children. We already know that integrity is the value we place on ourselves. Balance, courage, and consideration. The chart on page 28 of your guidebook shows the relationships that develop with high or low courage and consideration and the need for both to develop a win-win relationship. So if you'd like to turn to page 29 in your guidebook and take a few minutes to identify how you know when you're at a high or low in either to encourage or be considerate. Next is the video. What do you think you need to work on, and would you like to share with your partner at your seat or discuss out loud? You guys need some more time? If not, I have a video that I'd like you to watch. It's called Green and Clean. Win-win agreements can be used in any relationship or circumstance that would benefit from clear communication and experiences. And this is one of my favorite videos from The Leader in Me.
My little son agreed in a family meeting to take care of the yard.
I will, Dad.
Son, your job is green and clean. Let me show you what green looks like, son. Let's go over to our neighbor's house. That's the color we're after, son. Clean means, let's clean up half of it. Now notice that compared to that. That's green and clean, son. Your job is green and clean. Now, son, how you do that is up to you. I tell her how I do it if you want.
How'd you do it, Dad?
I turn on the sprinklers. But you may want to use buckets or hose or spit all day long. All we care about is what, son?
Green and clean.
What's green look like? Good. What's clean? Good. It's your job, son. Guess who your boss is, son?
Who?
You boss yourself. Guess who your helper is?
Who?
I am. You boss me.
I do?
If I ever have any time you need help, you just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And guess who judges you, son? That's right, you judge yourself. How do you think you judge yourself, son?
Green and clean.
What's green now? What's clean now? Good. Is that a deal, son? Think about it for a day or two. Saturday. How do you feel, son?
I'll do it.
Do what?
Green and clean.
How?
It's up to me.
Who's your boss?
I boss myself.
Who judges you?
I judge myself.
How do you judge yourself?
Green and clean.
What's green? Good. Clean? Good. Who's your helper?
You are if you have time.
What if I don't have time?
Gotta do green and clean.
Is that a deal, son?
Deal.
Deal was made. I did nothing. Nothing all that Saturday. All that Sunday. Monday. It's Tuesday morning. Going to work. Hot. Summer day. Burning up. Yellow. Neighbor's yard. Green and clean. Manicured. Garbage strewn right down the side lawn from the Saturday night barbecue. Falling out the bottom of the sack. 3 feet from my car. I could rationalize a little away Saturday and Sunday. But Monday, this is inexcusable. I was ready to move to win-lose. Now, son, you get out there, you get over here, or I'm telling you, the moment you do, you kill the goose. You kill effectiveness. You go for efficiency. Yeah, he'll clean that up. And what happens tomorrow when you're not there? Bite your tongue. Reaffirm your purpose. Raise boys, not grass. Oh, so it looks like tonight.
I've told myself that a couple times. Raise children, not clean cabinets.
Could hardly wait to get home. Driving, going around the corner, there where my yard was. Tuesday afternoon, more cluttered, more yellow than ever. My son across the street, playing ball. I was burning. We'd agreed that we'd walk around the yard twice a week and show me how it's going. Hi, son. How you doing?
Just fine, Dad.
I was faking it totally. How's it going in the yard, son?
Just fine, Dad.
I bit my tongue. After dinner, why don't we walk around? You can show me how it's going. Before we got in the door, you could see his lip. By the time we got out in the front yard, just open bawling.
So hard.
I mean, what was hard? He hadn't done one single thing.
Owning it was hard.
I'll tell you what hard is. It's moving up the level of initiative. You cannot hold people responsible for results if you supervise their methods. Anything you want me to do to help, son?
Would ya?
What was our agreement?
Can you tell me if you had time?
I've got time.
You do? I'll be right back.
Ran in the house, came out with 2 sacks. He handed me one, he took one. That's when he signed the win-win agreement. And he only asked for help a couple more times that entire summer. It's his job. It takes time to set up the agreement and to reaffirm it. The tendency is to backslide on it when you see mistakes. Keep believing in the people. Holding them accountable. And nobody agrees.
That's just one of my favorite videos that we've seen. Um, a quote from the family leadership is to communicate their worth and potential so clearly that your family members begin to see it in themselves. One person teaches the benefits of win-win in a family, and the other person teaches about balancing courage and consideration in conversations and decisions. I'm going to pass you out a calendar, and I want you to sometime this month, in the next couple of weeks, pick a date to do something like win-win with your family. So just pick any date. I actually printed it for April, so that'll give you a couple weeks. I mean, even after you finish the whole session, just do that. Play a game, just something you do with a family. I mean, somebody might want to play this, somebody might want to play that, but make it a win-win situation for everybody involved. And remember, always think win-win. It takes everyone to have that mindset. So if you'd like, I'll pass out the calendar, and then if you'd like to fill in your family flight plan on habit number 4. How many of you agree that your family will be more successful if you think win-win?
I think that's true, but if you have like for example, I'm working with Isaiah right now about turning lights off. Okay, so, and I've been okay, I try to teach him, but I finally told him the other day, I said, the next time, there's gonna be a consequence, so we got all ready to go to the bus stop or something, and I said, how are the lights? He just got out of the truck and went back and turned the lights off. There's gotta be a point where they do what you tell them to do because
Exactly.
you told them to do it.
Right, that scenario doesn't work in a work situation with a little boy. If you went to work tomorrow and you didn't do anything until Wednesday, that doesn't work in a work situation. But when they're 10 or 11, they can learn that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that by the time that they're our age, they can go to work and they can do it every day.
Right.
You know, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people discipline their children and they haven't told them what they're supposed to be doing or what they expect from them or what the boundaries are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't tell you you couldn't walk on the green carpet, but yet when you walked on the green carpet, I completely yelled at you, and it doesn't make sense to my brain.
Right.
I gave you all week to unload the wood off of the trailer.
Yeah.
And then Friday, when I got home and it was dark outside, guess what?
You do it in
The
the dark.
headlights turned on the truck and you unloaded it after bedtime.
Yeah.
All week.
Well, and especially if they know, look, this needs to be done by Saturday.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if they have those parameters, this is what I need you to do, this is your job, I need you to do it, and this is when it needs to be done by. So they have the tools that they need to be successful, and they've chosen not to. That's what they need to learn at this age, so that when they're our age, they go to work, they do their job, and they are successful in what they're expected to do. So.
And kids don't turn off lights at our house, we just have space for lights. I'm not playing, he does. Well,
4 lights in the bathroom and we're dealing
pay
with
for the
one
lights.
20-watt bulb right now.
he does.
Are you finished with this?
Okay, so here, I'll pass out your calendars.
I think it's funny, it's a good consequence. I can't see it.
And then does it mess you up though because there's no lights?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I just go in my bedroom,
She reaches up and screws them back in when the kids aren't around, but
Oh, yeah.
and then I screw them back.